Okay, skill 216. If you're going to write out a complex hypotenuse, what you're trying to do here is use the Pythagorean theorem, and instead of actually figuring out the exact answer, you have to use variables in your answer. Okay? So if you want to write the equation for that right there, you have to start with what we know, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then we take the things from our picture, which is already given to us, which is pretty nice, and take those things from the picture and stick them in the formula. Well, I know the two legs here, so this is going to be my A and that's going to be my B. You could have chosen them either way, it doesn't really matter. You just have to make sure that the hypotenuse is C. All right, so A is x, so I'm going to go with x squared plus B is this here, x plus 5, and that's squared equals C squared. And again, if I'm trying to find C, I have to get my answer by taking the square root of both sides. So now, a really common mistake is people think, oh, when I take the square root here on both sides, first of all, a lot of times they forget that the answer comes out to be absolute value of C, which means the answer is plus and minus the square root of all of this, x squared plus x plus 5 squared. All right, so since it was an absolute value, I got a plus and minus on my answer. But the negative of it can't work because you're going to have a negative side, so we don't want that. So we want to have only the positive answer. All right. So that was a long way to say that you just have to take the square root of both sides. And another common mistake people make is thinking that, oh, well, I can just take the square root of x squared and take the square root of x plus 5 squared and say the answer must be x plus 5. You can't do that. Because of this plus right here, you cannot figure out that the square root of, let's say, x squared minus 1 is x plus 1 or x minus 1. It's not. You can't do square roots like that. Just for the same reasons, you can't do x plus 3 squared by just squaring the x and squaring the 3. There'd be a middle term involved. Same idea. You can't take an answer like this and fall into the trap of saying, oh, well, the answer to that must be x plus x squared because I'm taking the square root of them. Nope, not if there's an add or a subtract in the problem. You can't do that. All right, so my final answer is written right there, which is the square root of x squared plus x plus 5 squared, which would be that one, which would be D. Okay, there's my help for that kind.